What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
Daddy! Settle down, man.
Dear Georgia Legislature, no guards or bologna sandwiches were harmed in the making of this video of the Frosty Shit Show saga. Love, Georgia citizens.
All right, folks, how are you today? I'm your host, BKP. It is time for, let me get everything where I want it to be. I'm your host. There we go. Let's try that. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Our Substack is Vora, V-O-R-A, at BKP Politics. voiceofruralamerica.com, X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. List goes on. We do have, BKP does have, I am BKP, so we won't do third person. But we have a TikTok account. We're just not actively working on it right now. Okay, so a couple programming notes. I broke my arm right here. Now, the doctor said, because it's here, it's, cast. But if I keep it like this, I do not have to have a sling 24/7. I have to have one when I sleep for safety. So I'm attempting to do the program today. No sling around my neck, right? But I just have to be careful that I don't get wound up. I do this, I get wound up. So that's programming note number one. Programming note number two, we're not grifters here. We're not. And you can't buy a narrative. We do not carry water for any politician. We are not cheerleaders by any means whatsoever. Just got off the phone getting the program ready to go, and we were talking about how policy is fair game with these politicians and what we should report and should not be reporting. That being said, we have had inquiries about advertising, and there are spaces where they can on our Substack. We've had inquiries of, hey, what would it cost to advertise on the Substack? We appreciate it. You're sharing it. It's taken off. So in the future, I'll let you know if you see advertising from our marketing department on our Substack. It does not alter in any way whatsoever the content quality of this show that you can trust. Yes, you can trust. Now, what a lot of programming notes. So let me do this, and let's do this. Right. Wait a minute. That's not what I wanted to do. Hang tight. There it is. All right. I just have to do it a couple more days. Hellebeck, is that his name? Hellebeck, the goalie. Look at that goal. Look at that. I just got to do it one or two more days. And then I just have to say, man, that Cash Patel, that dude can party. He can party. This was sent to me today. I really enjoy this one right here. Hey, I'd like a wake-up call. Here's your wake-up call. More people have been shot by trans people than by ICE agents in 2026. So there's your wake-up call of the day. And don't forget, we'll get back here in a minute, that is Mr. McBride. Mr. McBride, not the towelhead from Somalia, Ilhan Omar, but that is in the glasses, that's the trans Mr. McBride from Delaware, congressional from Delaware. So I was really struggling on where do I start this program today. And we have a lot going on where the dynamic duel is concerned. We'll get to the dynamic duel a little later. We have a lot going on where they're concerned. All right. And like I said, that is the Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Here he is right there, the Boy Wonder. We'll talk about the Boy Wonder momentarily. And here he is, Batman and Robin. We'll have news concerning that. I have some. We're going to talk about taxes. And we're going to talk about, what else are we going to talk about today? Burt Jones and Rick Jackson. The AJC has put them right back into the front page of the conversation. They're trying to stir it up a little bit. So I'm going to give you a minute to think about this, because we're going to get into the First Liberty Building and Loan and Nathaniel Darnell and just a couple updates there. But I want to ask you a question. I have the number here. In this picture here, can you identify the grifters? Can you identify in this picture here who is in the tank for Burt Jones? Who is carrying and cheerleading for Burt Jones? Who may be, being paid somewhere? So you got John, the Godzilla of BS, Fredericks, the worst thing that's ever happened to Georgia politics. You got Debbie Doonaster, Debbie Dooley, the Doonaster there. And we have Holly Kessel, Sally Grubbs. Now, Miss James, political consultant, we'll talk about her later. And then you have Jackie Harling, the chairman of the 14th District. Who are the grifters in that picture? Political activist for Burt Jones. Just want to know before we really kick off our day. So let's go back right here, and we'll start our programming with none other than I have the numbers wrong. Oh, I know why they're different. Okay, that's fine. This is the albino rhino, as you well know, okay? And this is Brant Frost. And the reason we're going to just show you this as we move this along, remember, he's been referred to Coweta County, that's where he lives, to the district attorney. He's been referred there to the district attorney for possible charges in his participation or his role in the $140 million Ponzi scheme in Georgia. All right, and that's Brant Frost V, son of Brant Frost IV. We'll go there in just a moment. But what we brought you the other day, and it seems like it's going to be rapid. And we're wondering which lawmaker was referred to in the AJC article concerning this. We'll talk about that a little later. The floodgates will probably open up. But now for those out there on the election integrity side of the world, all right, you don't like Brad Raffensperger. You like nothing about Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State of Georgia. I get it. But unless you have sit down, now he is the Secretary of State of Georgia. This is his investigation. He has to follow through with it. It is the right thing to do in his office to go and present to a judge and have a fine levied plus a referral to the DA for possible charges. Those are all the things that the Secretary of State's office is supposed to do according to the job. So if you have not watched any of the interviews, but if you have not sit down, talked to on the phone, face to face with someone that lost their life savings, senior citizens, told you about the Frost family, we'll leave all the names out at this time, that participated in prayer, right? Discussed their children, their grandchildren, their religious beliefs, their political beliefs. If you have not done that, okay, I have. I have done that. I have participated in that. That has happened here, okay? And the reason I say that, every time the GRA puts out something, or Nathaniel Darnell put out something, or anyone puts out something saying this is a political hit job, get your head out of your keister, okay? Wipe your eyes out from the crap in them and forget it's Brad Raffensperger and stop saying it's a political hit job on poor little, the albino rhino, the Frosties, and Nathaniel Darnell and others. Because it's not. Now, in this picture, what I want to say is this is one of my many orders I expect to file. Many. So the Secretary of State of Georgia has been very clear that this $140 million Ponzi scheme, there's going to be many, and that's the exact quote, many he expects to file. Here is this one here. We're just going to show you just to remind you. They find Edwin Brant Frost, that's Brant Frost V, $500,000 due within 30 days. So, and we also know he has been referred to the DA for possible prosecution. Now, before we go any further, let me see if I can get this to work correctly. I want to play the WSB report last night. Last night, WSB, and we'll get into the AJC article, they did a report last night. And let's go here and play that now.
PM coverage you can count on.
Good evening, everyone. Glad you're here with us. I'm Linda Stouffer.
And I'm George Estevez, and we begin here at 6 with a developing story. Another prominent conservative Georgia political leader named in the investigation into alleged Ponzi scheme at First Liberty. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray live now at the state capitol this evening, where the Secretary of State, Justin, issued an emergency order.
To this day, George, Nathaniel Darnell remains influential and active in Georgia conservative politics. But today, the Secretary of State fined him $500,000 and issued this official referral to the Cobb District Attorney to consider criminal charges.
The way Mr. Darnell went about recruiting these investors is reprehensible.
Nathaniel Darnell was not an employee or owner of alleged Ponzi scheme First Liberty Building and Loan, but this emergency order alleges that he convinced his investment clients to send their money there. One investor marked his investment objectives as conservative. His risk is low. Darnell allegedly told another client First Liberty was guaranteed appropriate and safe. Another client told him they were unsophisticated and inexperienced investors.
Mr. Darnell is responsible for recruiting at least 45 Georgians to invest more
sophisticated and inexperienced.
Kimball, I heard a rumor that you may
sophisticated and
PM coverage you can count.
Sophisticated and inexperienced investors.
Mr. Darnell is responsible for recruiting at least 45 Georgians to invest more than $6.6 million in First Liberty.
Darnell is a powerful figure in Georgia conservative politics, the current president of the Georgia Republican Assembly and past chair of the Cobb County Republican Party. Last month, First Liberty investors who did not want us to show their faces pointed fingers at Nathaniel Darnell.
It took my life savings. It's a fine example of how people hide behind good faith and religion to deceive people. Nathaniel Darnell needs to be accountable for it too.
Last week, we reported on similar action being taken against Brant Frost V. The SEC alleges First Liberty was a $140 million Ponzi scheme targeting Christian conservatives with paid promotions on outlets like The Eric Erickson Show on WSB Radio. The Secretary of State emergency order quotes a text message from Darnell to Frost V in 2023 about one couple who allegedly lost their entire retirement savings when First Liberty closed, writing, "I just have to make sure he doesn't lose the faith. He had just applied this week for a mortgage and used his interest payments to show his ability to pay the loan. LOL."
He laughed at this family's misfortune by lining his own pockets with their money.
And Darnell's attorney provided us a statement writing that Mr. Darnell denies the allegations that Raffensperger has rushed to judgment and inappropriately rushed to the press for his own political gains, continuing that although we previously asked the Secretary of State for the chance to discuss this matter before it took any action, the Secretary of State ignored that request, did not provide us an opportunity to address these allegations, and concluding, although we have sympathy for those who lost money, we will continue to defend Mr. Darnell in this matter. Darnell now has 30 days to either pay that $500,000 fine or request a hearing with the Secretary of State's Security Division. Of course, we will stay on this. We're live at the state capitol this evening. Justin Gray, Channel 2 Action News.
Kimball, I heard a rumor that you made.
All right, so folks, it's not for his own political gains. End of story. It's not for his own political gains. And that's just all there is to it. Okay? So let me get this back up. So Nathaniel Darnell, let me go through here. There's a couple things I want to highlight that they're not going to highlight in the media. He's currently active in the Georgia GOP. Now, keep in mind, when I say we, there's been so many of us out here that we did everything to try to get the Georgia GOP, Josh McCoon. In fact, Josh McCoon, the chairman of the Georgia GOP, has never seen a skirt that he wouldn't hide behind. Seriously, he's a total coward, all right? And I'm just saying that he is, all right? We attempted a long time ago to get the Frost family completely, any of their associates, anyone, out of GOP politics. We did not want to go into 2026 with this hanging over our head. I have tape from last year when this broke. What you just watched is almost word for word what I told you was going to happen last year. That as we get into the election cycle, if we do not cleanse our palate of these people totally and get away from them, that every night in the media, they would remind us active in, okay? So Nathaniel Darnell is currently the treasurer of the Georgia 14th District GOP. He's not the former Cobb County GOP chair. That's a correction on that. But currently treasurer, 14th District GOP, and he is currently on the Georgia State Committee. Now, I have sent Jackie Harling, and I'm going to read this to you, okay? I sent Jackie Harling, the chair of the Georgia Republican Party 14th District. I sent her a message, and I asked her, I said, we are on the record. I want to know if you'll be asking Nathaniel Darnell to resign as treasurer of the 14th District and also his state committee position. We're on the record. She did write me back and say, I will have an official answer and response for you at some point today. So at some point today, we understand there will be a statement on asking him for his resignation in the 14th district because active. Don't forget Katie Frost. Katie Frost, if you don't know her, she's the daughter of Brant Frost IV. She worked at First Liberty. Her job was community connection, something for the company. Anyhow, she is still the chair of the Georgia 3rd District and a member of the state committee. And Krista Frost, the mother, is still the second vice chair of Coweta County Republican Party and on state committee. And it goes on and on. When we ask, why will you not ask every Frost and every associate out now? We've had them come back and say, well, they're not guilty of anything. All right. Now, moving right along. As you notice what he said, he is an activist in conservative politics. 45 people, $6.5 million, right? 45 people he referred. Now, Nathaniel Darnell got fired from Bankers Life and Security. He was an agent / whatever broker. He got fired because when people came in, and I'm going to say this, he sniffed out Christian and sniffed out conservative and sniffed out Trump supporter and sniffed out patriot and sniffed out politics. Once his sniffer got up and he checked all them boxes, that's when he swooped in, under my opinion, and what I consider stole everything they had and did not care if they could make the mortgage payment. These are all in my opinion, according to what I say, on their home. LOL. Right? So, just a little update as we go through. Gets a little convoluted. Now, this is, the groups are tied. Nathaniel Darnell, remember, he is the president of the Georgia Republican Assembly. The Georgia Republican Assembly PAC, the GRA PAC, run by Brant Frost V, has 61 violations of election reporting violations. Oh, they're in big trouble. These people are all in big trouble because they were bringing in the money into the PAC, just sending it wherever they wanted. Now, don't forget, I am of the opinion the FBI is in this because although this is the Secretary of State of Georgia's investigation, you have Alabama. This is national. They solicited investors from across the country. They solicited solicited campaign donations, and they gave out money across the country. So as soon as you cross those state lines, and FBI, I mean, as soon as Kash Patel downs that beer, I mean, he's on his way. As soon as Kash gets out of the locker room, he finishes chugging his beer, let the guy have one, he's on his way. I'd say FBI. Now, that being said, the Secretary of State, they have tied the GRA PAC to the GRA. Now, this is where the GRA was trying to defend themselves and make the argument, they were trying to make the argument that they're not the GRA PAC. Now, the committee said, yes, you are. An unanimous vote from the committee, State Ethics Commission or whatever they are, unanimous vote. You are one and the same. Now, what I have always told you, what that means is they've got the books open on the GRA. And they got the books open over at the GRA PAC. And lawmakers, they have said lawmakers I think plural. I think plural. There's so many different articles out there. I think plural. Oh, yes, this is going to blow up. But 45 people that he sent to the frost in the area of 6.6 million lost. LOL, right, Nathaniel? Now, right here you go. This is, I want to tell you again from yesterday. There's a lot of people across the state of Georgia wearing a GRA badge. South Georgia, Northwest Georgia, over here around the 7th District in Gainesville. Very good people. All right? But if you notice, there's not a report done that they don't use Nathaniel Darnell's picture with his GRA badge. He's the president of the GRA. Have you asked for his resignation as president of the GRA? Has that happened? Has the GRA put out a statement? Now, I did receive an email from Alex Johnson, the president of the National Federation of Republican Assemblies, but nothing from the GRA, no statement. So let me say to you guys out there that are great patriots, I said it yesterday in the Substack. Go read it. Go read the last paragraph. I directed a paragraph right to you. Get the hell away from these people. Get them all out, clean house, and get away from them. Just saying. Now, here is Nathaniel Darnell and Alex Johnson, right? And Alex Johnson's the president of the National Federation of Republican Assembly. Nathaniel Darnell, is the president of the GRA, right? Sorry about that. Here he is from yesterday's report. And also, this is one of the fan favorites, LOL, right, Nathaniel? LOL. They lost all their money. They can't pay the mortgage because they were going to use their interest money to prove they could pay back a mortgage. LOL, right, Nathaniel? Here's Nathaniel Darnell, and the albino rhino is center, and Dad is to the left there, Brant Frost IV. Now, we're going to start getting into what did they know and when did they know it? Because that's one of the things in the investigation I'd like to know. So let's go back here. Alex Johnson, what did you know and when did you know it? Because I have this question, and it's the biggest question mark one of the day. When the Georgia Republican Party held their state convention, that they rigged an election for Josh McCoon, did they know this? What did they know? Who was in the room that knew this was happening? I'm very serious. Now, the AJC, let me read a couple excerpts. Is that how you say it? From the AJC, right? Georgia GOP group leader tied to first find Liberty, fined $500,000, referred to a DA. Georgia GOP group. We have to disconnect from these people. They're going to go on and on. I mean, as we speak, I don't know if Raffensperger has another one. We don't know who is next. We should have a little pool. So anyhow, a financial advisor and leader of a far-right Georgia Republican Assembly has been fined $500,000 by the Secretary of State. It's the largest fallout from the collapse. It's the latest fallout from the collapse of First Liberty. The failed lender, federal regulators have labeled a $140 million Ponzi. So, there's a couple things in here I want to show you. Darnell, who worked for Bankers Life Advisory Services, sold unregistered First Liberty investments to nearly 4 dozen clients without telling his employer. his employer didn't know that when they came in and sat down at the desk, he was saying, well, maybe you try this. The complaint said and concealed from clients and his employer that he earned commissions. Those commissions totaled nearly $250,000 over several years. Now, here's where I want to just throw out a little question mark again, right? If Nathaniel Darnell was selling these unsecure or unregistered securities or whatever they're called, if he was selling these and he was getting commission, who else was getting commission? Because I will tell you this, I'm not going to mention the name today, but when this all broke, there's a text message and it's coming. I think he used to be the chair of the Cobb County Republican Party, where Brant Frost V solicited him with possible commissions if he had any leads. So I do know from articles of the past, people that have come forward, that Nathaniel Darnell is not the only one that was offered commissions. Who got referrals? Was there a referral fee? I've asked this question over and over. Did anyone... Okay, we do know that the Frost family solicited David Schaefer, the former chair of the Georgia Republican Party, right? We know that. We know by email accounts that they solicited every lawmaker under the dome, basically, especially with an R. We know that they solicited every delegate and have passed several state convention cycles and many of the district cycles. We know that. Right? So that being said, who got referral fees? Who got referral fees? Now, I know with emails I was in that, First Liberty solicited the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, Josh McCoon. Now, I don't know if they went to him direct, but they solicited David Schaefer, Josh McCoon's very close friend, to the point David Schaefer and some associates of his invested and lost money in First Liberty. Right? Oh, this is going to get so bam, 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 convoluted. It really is. So who out there received referral fees besides Nathaniel Darnell? I'm just asking. Just want to know. Now, that being said, this guy, according to the article, received $250,000 in referral fees for something he wasn't allowed to sell. Another referral letter went to the state insurance commissioner. Darnell still held active insurance agent license, 22 insurance companies. So the Secretary of State has sent a letter to John King, the state insurance commissioner, to say, hey, pull his license to be able to do business with these 22 insurance companies. Now, let me tell you something. As a grown-ass man, I know we don't live in a world today where, I know this sounds sexist, right? But where a man is supposed to get up, go to work, and take care of his family. Nothing against the wife working. Let's not go down that road. But Nathaniel Darnell, you put your wife and children in such a bind to lose your livelihood. I mean, this is just a major disgrace. I'm trying to not say some words I don't want to come across this broadcast. And then I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, because I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, I don't want to say anything that would be offensive to women in any way whatsoever, because God knows the ones out there just sit out there and say, wow, let's go after him today. So Darnell placed 45 people in First Liberty Investment, right? Most with his clients at Bankers Life, most were 60 years and older. Elder abuse, stealing from our senior citizens, stealing from your mother and father, stealing from your grandparents. I mean, really? Let's see. He sold nearly $6.7 million in investments in First Liberty. The complaint said he deposited commissions into an account for a company he created called Preservio Properties, which the state said he told Bankers Life was a house flipping business. Whew. The funds were used by Darnell for purchases at the liquor store. Now, wait a minute. Now, wait just a minute. Now, Nathaniel Darnell, you want me to believe that the money was used at the liquor store? Well, I know it wasn't a local liquor store, because the Baptists go to 3 towns over to the liquor store so no one will see them. Did I say that out loud? Right? Oh, come on. You know the difference between a Baptist and a Methodist? Methodists will say hello to you in the liquor store. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Come on. Get away from me if you've never heard that before, or you've never told that. So anyhow, he was over at the liquor store. I know, I do the broadcast, and there's so many things I really don't need to say, but I say them anyway because I enjoy them for myself. What about you? So purchases at the liquor store, clothing store, and other retailers to make payments on his credit card used for personal expenses, political contributions, and other expenses to make payments on car loan for a 2019 Lexus. Whoa! Yes, had to get his Lexus on, right? And we're almost done with this one here. So the order said Darnell breached his fiduciary duty to the clients. Darnell often placed over 50% of the client's net worth in First Liberty Investment, despite the client's stated investment objective and risk tolerance, according to the document. So when you fill out, when you're in a fund, and I don't want to get this wrong because it's not my wheelhouse, but when you're in a fund, you can pick high risk, medium risk. You can do that to where you could put, you got $500,000, you want $100,000 in high risk, then you want $200,000 in medium risk, and $300,000. Was that $600,000? Anyhow, my math is a little off today. It gets like that when I get into $100,000 plus. But you could do that. So he was going against their wishes on how they wanted to invest their money. And we'll stop with this one. We fear it is a total loss. We fear it is a total loss. One investor who met Darnell through the Georgia Republican Assembly said Darnell used his political and religious views to gain our trust. Right. Over 60 years old. I mean, it says it here, basically. As soon as Nathaniel Darnell, or all of them, for my opinion, right? Mr. Frost, Brant Frost V, none of them like me. None of them ever liked me. Well, now we know. What did Marco say? If you don't know, now you know, right? So anyhow, we fear it is a total loss. If they sniffed out, if they sniffed out, okay, conservative, Republican, Trumper, religious, wealthy, Darnell told investor, who was identified only as investor 1 in the order, that the First Liberty investment guaranteed 15% returns, the order said. The investor and his wife put $350,000 of their retirement savings. Wait a minute. I met an investor of $350,000. I met someone that lost $350,000. Is it a coincidence? Of their retirement savings in First Liberty, and said, the fact that First Liberty and its owner claim to share our political and religious views also made Darnell's recommendation to invest in First Liberty safe, according to the order. I mean, all right, so a couple notes before we close. Don't forget, Sally Grubbs is still a member. If I'm correct today, as of 2/26/2026, Sally Grubbs, first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, is well aware of things. Sally Grubbs, very good friend, Nathaniel Darnell. Sally Grubbs, first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, the political stunt woman on the state election board, is still a member of the GRA. There's Burt Jones. What do they know? And there's old Blueberry. We know, you know Blueberry. We'll leave that at that right there. And Josh, here is Burt Jones with his good friend Josh McCoon, State Senator Josh McCoon, very close to the Frost family for years, all the way back being a state senator, very close to the Frost family friend Mike Crane, served with him in the state Senate. The list goes on and on. Now, he did resign from the GRA. Approximately a week ago, I'm going to say a week ago. It's interesting. Josh McCoon protected his X account. Approximately a week ago, he went and shut down his X account. For what reason, we don't know. But he shut it down. These posts are protected. Only approved followers can see his post. He shut them down. Now, a couple of the quick comments from the report. Marked his investment, this is from the Channel 2, his investment objective as conservative, his risk tolerance as low. He wanted low risk, all right? Wanted low risk, and Nathaniel Darnell put his money in the First Liberty. Darnell stated the investment was guaranteed appropriate and safe, and then unsophisticated and inexperienced investors who rely on financial advisors. Now, this is the one. Remember, these people are 60 or over. 60 or over. Number 52 here, right there it is. I just have to make sure he doesn't lose faith. Now, this is a communication, I understand, between Nathaniel Darnell and Brant Frost V. I understand that's this text message. I just have to make sure he doesn't lose the faith. The bad thing about the timing is that he had just applied this week for a mortgage and used the consistency of his interest payments to show his ability to pay his mortgage loan LOL. LOL. And now, wrapping this up, as you can see, he made the statement. His attorney, Mr. Darnell, denies the allegations. Okay. Raffensperger rushed to judgment and improperly rushed to the press for his own political gain. Really? That being said, I received this morning. Alex Johnson, just a few days until qualifying week. As you know from the last email, Brad Raffensperger and Jeff Duncan were both validly, I think that's what it says, banned from running for office under the Republican Party banner. Not true. Not true, okay? This morning, this came out. They are begging you to make this all about Brad Raffensperger, right? This is not true. The Georgia Republican Party delegates passed a resolution, non-binding, concerning Brad Raffensperger. But the Georgia State Committee and the Executive Committee did not follow through with that resolution and bind it and make it real and send Brad Raffensperger any notification that he could not run. Now, I'm going to say this. I keep telling you, I told you yesterday, this is not a direct shot. No way is this a direct shot at any of these candidates. But the Georgia Republican Assembly, their 2026 GRA State Endorsement Convention, these candidates need to bail out now. Get away from the GRA. Until Nathaniel Darnell resigns, until Alex Johnson presides over the GRA, they have internal elections. They have internal elections or whatever their bylaws say they have to do. They need to collapse this mess and put it back together if that's what they wish to do. Until then, in no way whatsoever should a candidate seek their endorsement. Get away from this, okay? Now, let me know if there's anything else happening where this is concerned. Send me messages, whatever you may want to do. I want to go over this one right here briefly, and then I want to get to something on elections and close. I asked you early on, switching gears. Now, this is John Fredericks, the Godzilla of BS. Now, John Fredericks is the worst thing that's ever happened to Georgia politics. We don't have enough time to go in it. He is absolutely terrible. I feel strongly he's bought and paid for. I do. And what I mean by that, that's what I feel, that's what I think. Because I do know this, he places calls to advertisers, he places calls to people, politicians put ads on his network. Just saying. He came into Georgia. He railed against Brian Kemp. Now he apologized to Brian Kemp, asked for forgiveness, and they're now good friends. This guy is not a good guy, no matter what you say. Now, Debbie Dooley, we know Debbie Dooley, Holly Kessler Consulting, she seems to carry water, just saying. Jackie Harling in the 14th, and obviously Sally Grubbs, all right, little gray area, some kind of political advancement or maybe a career advancement where the Burt Jones, because Burt Jones is who put her on the state election board. So be careful. And the reason I put this up, be careful of the Burt Jones trolling. By no means is this an endorsement for Rick Jackson. Absolutely not. But I'm watching what they do. It's called the dump and run. I love it in hockey. You dump the puck down there and everybody runs and chases it. Look, here's what's happening in today's politics. Now, candidates, what they will do is they will put a field together that they call grassroots influencers, right? They'll put a team together and they will have that team run with every narrative against their opponent and get people whooped up into a frenzy. And we'll have more detail on that. Now, anyone on the screen, can I tell you that they get a paycheck? No, I cannot. And I won't do that. But, just saying. Now, the AJC, they can't keep Jackson and Burt Jones off the front page very long. Rick Jackson, Burt Jones trade attacks as GOP race for governor intensifies. Now you have the political attack here. Republican race for governor is getting nastier. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones and billionaire Rick Jackson are increasingly slugging it out like it's a two-man contest. Now, I have said over and over, I do think there is a lane for Brad Raffensperger that many don't like to hear. But Chris Carr, absolutely no lane whatsoever. Jones and Jackson are trading blows as if Attorney General Chris Carr and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger are not in the race. Since Jackson entered the contest, he began courting the MAGA base with an uncompromising embrace of President Trump's agenda. Jones has shifted almost all of his fire in that direction. So Burt Jones, to me, has taken his boy wonder, Greg Dolezal, and they're carrying water to the floor every day in campaign stunts. Jones doesn't want that narrative to settle. He launched a media counteroffensive also largely funded by his personal wealth to remind voters he secured Trump's endorsement. Now, before we go on with this, I told you last year, and this is where I want to end this. I mean, Rick Jackson is running. He's spending an enormous amount of money. There's a lot of questions out there concerning some campaign issues he's not addressed. But he's out there. He's saying he will take down the cartel. Interesting. So, what I want to show you a couple things here because you have different lanes. You have the election integrity lane. You have the Chamber of Commerce lane. You have the still what I call the Jeff Duncan Republican lane, although he says he's a Democrat now. Okay, he is. But there's other lanes out there. And I told you this, when the campaign started last year, I think I said it in December of last year, this legislative session will be nothing but political stunts. So I want to go back and I want to show you a couple things because I have to wrap up for the day. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing down here. So you're starting to see different bills dropped, okay? And different bills are being dropped. This was the last week. I think Monday was the last day you could drop new bills. Now, what they can do is they can alter existing bills. They can. So to drop a new bill, you're not supposed to do that right now. But from now to crossover, they can alter these bills that are dropped. They can change them. They can merge bills together. They can take 4 bills and grab 4 parts and call it this one over here. And we're going to talk about that because there's a couple things I want my good friends out there to be aware of. Election integrity. You hear Fulton County, you hear Fonnie Willis, you hear overtaking the Fulton County Board of Election and Registration. You hear that the FBI and the ballots, that there may be indictments, one thing after another after another. But here's what I want to be very clear about. There are some bills that have been dropped that do not seem to be bad election bills for the state of Georgia. There's a couple bills that look pretty good. And what the majority of these candidates are doing, they're dropping bills knowing they won't go anywhere, or if they do pass, they will have time release capsules in the future to where what you think is good will never go into effect. And I'm going to show you that. All right? But they want to leave on that 40th day and go campaign and tell you what all they presented as bills just for campaign stunts. So here on the screen, we'll start here. This is the balance of the calendar, and this is the balance of the calendar. Crossover is March 6th, okay? So right now, the two chambers, the House and the Senate, they're battling over bills that they're going to cross over, that they want to pass, and that is the 28th day, March 6th. Now, then we rush to the 40th day. So let's go, I told you this yesterday, with SB 189. I just want to put this out here quickly. SB 189. Yes, Georgia Senate Bill SB 189 would eliminate, it was signed in May 2024, it would eliminate QR codes, and the deadline for the law was set for July 1st, 2026. So, paper ballots, hand-marked paper ballots, hand-counted paper ballots at the precinct, no tabulators, whatever. But everything is spinning around under the gold dome. And when SB 189 was passed, right, there was a lot of cheering. A lot of people thought QR codes are gone. They're gone. But keep this in mind. When they put these bills out, and you think they're great or good, a movement in the right direction, there are time release where they can alter them any way they want. So remember that with every bill that's been dropped. So here's SB 189, okay? We showed you this yesterday. So this is HB 1423. HB 1423. Now, HB 1423 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Democrats. Now, I know what everybody's going to say. Hey, this is Democrats. It's not going anywhere. John Burns is not going to do this. Burt Jones is not going to do this. But what does this bill do? Now, this bill was dropped 2 days ago. 2 days ago, right before the governor signed the new budget, the supplemental budget. Right here, 6. What is it? Number 11. Right here. Let's see what I have here. Right? Number 11, to amend an act related to elections. It's 1 page. Section 1. And what does Section 1 say? We brought this up yesterday. I'm going to show you something today. An act related to an act related to elections and primaries. Approved May 6, 2024. That's SB 189. Is amended by revising subsection D of 13, section 13, as follows in section 7, with an effective date of July 1st, 2027. Now, nowhere on that sheet of paper does it say QR codes. But if you go pull that up, Effective date for Section 7. According to the text, Section 13D establishes Section 7 of the Act shall become effective July 1st, 2026. Now, our fiscal year in Georgia ends June 30th, and the new one starts July 1st of 2027. This is to go in effect July 1st of 2026 this year. Section 7 SB 189 focuses on how votes are counted by transitioning away from machine-readable barcodes, QR codes. So that's the section that says QR codes have to go. Now let's not forget, by day in Fulton County, we don't hear any of this by the mild-mannered Greg the Weasel Dolezal. We don't hear any of that, right? And here he is, the boy wonder. He is just out there doing so many amazing things, but these are things they don't talk about. Here he is with Burt Jones, his running mate, to the Batcave, Batman. There they are, to the Batcave. Now, this is the Georgia state budget under Brian Kemp. $10 billion, an increase. $10 billion increase. So, Greg Dolezal standing on the floor talking about zero-based budgeting, right? Did Greg Dolezal vote for the amended budget for 2026 that went up 12%? Did he? He's on the floor now talking about zero-based budgeting. He'll say anything. But for 10 years, this budget went up $10 billion. And then what I'm about to show you is the supplemental budget, right? Georgia politicians just jammed through 12% spending increase. So-called supplemental budget. $4.5 billion jump. Now, the jump is they're not relieving your property tax. They're not relieving your state income tax. They're giving you your money. Yes, they're out there cheering and giving you your money. Like, well, wait a minute, that's my money anyway. So they're not alleviating tax. They're basically giving you your money back so you can pay your tax. Wait a minute, something's not right here. I'm going to show you like I always do. Now, Governor Brian Kemp got all worked up yesterday. The office of Governor Brian Kemp amended fiscal year 2026 budget. HB 973, final passage. Now, the amended budget means when they come back into session, they just pack on everything they want. And this amended budget is the I'm out of here, adios, here's all my gifts to everyone. I mean, this is Brian Kemp just spending every possible dime he can before he gets out the door. Here you go. So, then also bragging about HB 001. All right? Okay. And then he put out this little statement. Today we saw major legislative action on my top priority, saving taxpayers' money and investing in a safer, more prosperous Georgia. The amendment FY26 budget will provide $2 billion in income tax and property tax relief. Endow the first state needs-based scholarships, right? Make historic investments in transportation and much more. You see, if you're out there and you're in election integrity, you're going to vote for them anyway. You won't vote for a Democrat. You won't stay home. You're going to vote for them. These are the people they have to buy the votes for. They have yours. The Georgia House also passed HB 001, which will bring the income tax rate down to 4.99, a full 3 years ahead of schedule. So he's bringing the tax rate down to 4.99. He is not saying, hey, we're going to get rid of state income tax. I told you this already, without constitutional amendments, they could put time capsule releases and all these bills on this year, and this year, right? Like, you know, you get all those bills from Washington, D.C. that say over 10 years, or in 4 years we're going to do this, and it doesn't happen. The next Congress takes place and wipes that all out. That's all these political stunts are. Now, as we go on, I'm going to show you something. This is nothing but a campaign stunt for Will Wade. All right? Here's number 24, HB 0001, income tax, reduced tax rate, Will Wade, 9th District. All right? So, Will Wade is the top there. He is the governor's floor leader. The governor will put all kinds of money behind him. He's been a loyal soldier, anything Governor Kemp wants. And Governor Kemp gets this put out so he can officially go and say he cut your taxes, because that's the relationship he had with the governor, because Will Wade is running for State Senate District 51 to replace Steve Gooch, and this is a gift. This is the way they do it. This is a gift, right? Can't make this up. To amend Article 2, right here, Representative Will Wade of the 9th District, and all this says is we're going to change the tax rate. All right? We're going to change the tax rate, and it's going to become effective July 1st, 2026. We're going to move the tax rate. That's what it says. But this is a gift to Will Wade. Now, moving right along, I want to show you something. Remember, go back to the Democrat bill that kicks the can down the road on the QR codes to July 1st of 2027. And all the governor has to do is sign it. Number 27 here. See, this is HB 973. This is the supplemental appropriations bill. I'm going to show you where to find this. Then if you want to read HB 974, that's the fiscal bill for next year. Now, not to bore you with numbers or anything today, but what you need to do, and I'm going to show you this, all right? HB 973. HB 973, Supplemental Appropriations, Fiscal Year, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. If you can go through here, go to HB 973. If you can go through here and you can find the money to purchase equipment, to get rid of the QR codes, you see, it's not in there. I challenge you to go to this supplemental bill and find any money. You can blame it on Brad Raffensperger. You can blame it on anyone you want. But if Governor Brian Kemp would have said HB 189 has to have $60 million in here, now they put $50 million in there to address the homeless crisis, right? Yes. But if they did not put that 60-some million in there, and if Brian Kemp, quit saying Brad Raffensperger didn't ask for it, if Brian Kemp would have said, where is the money to implement SB 189 and get rid of the QR code, it would be in here. Where's it at? Go find me that money. All right? Just go find it. I'll tell you where to go look. You click on that right there, and you click on it, and you're going to see right here, it's going to take you right to the page, It'll say the text for this version is unavailable. It will give you a live link. You click on that blue live link. It will take you to the House Budget and Research Office, right? It'll take you right there, House Budget and Research Office. And then what you do is you go down to the bottom there, halfway down, and it'll say search by year. You put in 2026. All right? You put in 2026, and you go look through that entire budget, and you see if there's any money to get rid of those QR codes. And then you remember 6 Democrats put in a bill to kick that down the road. Now, the reason I say that, and I'm so adamant about that, is because of this right here. All of these election integrity bills that they're putting forth, some of them are well written, some of them are very good. But I'm going to tell you, don't get your hopes up, and I say that nicely, don't get your hopes up. Even if it passes and you get all excited, oh, we got this and we got this. Look at the date that it's effective. Because we fought, and I say we, I was in the trenches on SB 189. We fought very hard to get rid of the QR codes. We fought very hard to say, hey, I'm supposed to be able to read my ballot. And we got that in the law that it got removed. And as you could see, no money, no motion, no movement, right? And it got kicked down the road. Now there's no money, and they want to kick it to 2027. So my caution to you when I say that is every time you look at one of those bills or one of those politicians, and they say, I dropped this bill, this passed, we passed this law, ask them when it takes effect, and why did they not pass the law effective immediately, right? Now, I want to show you something else before we get out. Pretty sure I have it here. Hang tight. Because all of the political stunt on taxes. So I have the letter. I'm not going to go through the letter in the interest of time. Right here. Money tree. What do state lawmakers do when they don't have enough to pay for everything? They ask the governor for money. Governor Brian Kemp delivered on Tuesday in a big way. The governor revised his revenue estimate to give lawmakers an additional $1.4 billion to spend. So revising the revenue estimate means he took money out of the reserve, your money. He made a $1.4 million decision with your money and pushed it over here and said, this is how I will use your money. You can't make this up. The decision means Georgia's vaulting savings account will shrink. It'll shrink, right? But it allows the legislature and Kemp to keep some of their most important and expensive priorities intact. So let me go over here before we get ready to close. We got to close up. All right. $1.2 billion for an income tax rebate. Single filers will get $250. Head of the household will get $375. Married couples filing joint will get $500. This is your money. This is your money. They keep acting like they're doing something amazing. Every time they give you your money, you're supposed to, it's called your change. You give them money, hey, can I get my change? And then when you get your change back, they think you're supposed to stand there and say, oh my God, this is amazing. You gave me back what is mine. $850 million for property tax relief. The money will flow through local governments. The average household will get $500. This is unreal. It'll flow through local governments, right? $850 million in property tax relief. So quit looking for this great homestead exemption, going to be gone one day. Quit looking for it. The average homeowner, $409 million for a new forensic mental health hospital, $325 million for needs-based college scholarship program. And the list goes on. Can't make that up. All right, folks, let's close this up. I want to do everything we can to stop Jim Kingston from being the congressman from the 1st District. I waited on this district for a long time to really get involved, but Jim Kingston, the son of Jack Kingston, who feels he's entitled, should not be the congressman from the 1st District, period. He's endorsed here by John King, the insurance commissioner. The insurance companies have gotten together. The lobbyists have gotten together. The deep pockets, the swamp in D.C., this is who they want. So I'm not telling you who to vote for, but go look at another candidate, all right? Our daily reminder, right? Our daily reminder that since 2005, all the red, 2005, the Republicans have had control of the governor, House, and Senate office. Just saying. Every day I want to bring this up. This is our good friend Christopher Mora. Christopher Mora is running for, and I'm going to go down the road here a little bit in the 11th District tomorrow. Christopher Mora is running for Congress in the 11th District. They will not recognize him in the AJC. He is going to be on the ballot. He's properly registered. They're doing everything to keep from acknowledging him as a candidate. We like to remind people, hate to say it, that President Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham, if you're looking at endorsements. And, Bill and Hillary are going to be deposed, right, over the Epstein file. If we don't win the majority of everything, wonder what that day will be like when they bring Donald Trump in to depose him. Just saying. All right, folks, as we close, keep in mind, I told you this, I don't know. I do not handle the marketing for any of our businesses. I don't get involved in it. I don't have anything to do with it. I just want you to know, I told you at the beginning of the show, and if you're here at the end, that there has been certain candidates that have reached out and have inquired about the possibility of putting ads on the program and so if you are on the Substack, so if you see them in the future, they're not endorsements. We'll be clear on that. We do not cheerlead. We do not grift. Okay? We do not carry anyone's water. You cannot buy a narrative here. Just won't happen. I appreciate you so much. Always remember, I love to hear from you. Give me your take. Let me know what's going on. You are the research department, right? Vora, our Substack, Vora, at BKP Politics, Voice of Rural America, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook. I will see you sometime tomorrow. Please share this with your friends, right? Let me get this set up. I've got something here I want to do as we close. And, elder abuse. 60 and over. Can't make this up. All right, I'm out.
Daddy! Settle down, man.
Dear Georgia Legislature, no guards or bologna sandwiches were harmed in the making of this video of the Frosty Shit Show saga. Love, Georgia citizens.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.